What's going on, everybody? I'm back again with another video. Back again in beautiful Yerevan out here in Armenia. A little bit cold morning out here, but I'm gonna hit another neighborhood a little bit outside the city center, which is called Arabkir. Not sure if I'm saying it correctly. I gotta hit the metro and make it up there. But apparently, like I said, I'm not 100% sure. I don't think it's allowed to film in the metro. So, you know, what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna put the camera down. And then when I make it outside to the neighborhood, I'm gonna start exploring the neighborhood. I heard it's pretty trendy, you know, they have restaurants, cafe, residential area. So, you know, I wanna see what it looks like outside the city center. Even though I've been around a couple of parts, but I haven't filmed. But, you know, I love exploring different neighborhoods around the cities that I visit. So without further ado, join me. Even out here, you can see people are out and about. It's not like super crowded, but people are out here, you know, going on about their daily lives. No matter what time of the day you walk around the city, even at nighttime, it's pretty busy. Look at the sun. In the morning, it looks pretty cool. So the metro stations would be around Flower Fountain. I think that's like a nice district. It's near a plaza too, where they got like a market. So a little bit of a walk, but like I say, even if I don't document or film, I always like to check out the public transportation in every city that I visit, you know. It's a good way to get around and pretty efficient and affordable. Out here, while I'm walking the street, I don't know how clear you can see because the sun. Got a beautiful street art right here. It's actually pretty nice, I like it. You know, I'm a huge fan of street art. Like I said, I'm also very curious to check out the other neighborhood that I'm gonna explore. I think it's gonna be actually nice and pretty epic. So early in the morning, because later I'm gonna go hang out with my family. But hey, doing my best to explore. Seems like over here they're gonna develop this area. I can see this building is pretty old. Seems like they're gonna tore it down, maybe develop like new buildings. I don't know. I like the old architecture here. It's pretty nice. Here I'm literally shortcutting Republic Square. Pretty empty and quiet right now. But I'm sure if you come in the afternoon, the weather's supposed to warm up a little bit. So if you come later in the afternoon, I think it's gonna be actually busy. But this way here is shortcuts easier from where I'm staying in my accommodation. So metro's right here ahead of me, Republic Square. You can see it. But I'm gonna put my camera away, and then when I make it towards my destination, I'll take it out and continue filming. It's right here in the entrance, as you can see. So far it's looking pretty nice in the outside. But yeah, I'll see you guys later. Made it here to Arabkir. So far, it's looking pretty interesting in the neighborhood. Kind of like a little different vibe from the city center, but it looks pretty nice and walkable. So let's walk around. I'm also gonna explain to you what was the process when I was taking the metro out here. You know, it looked actually pretty cool. You know, like I said, I couldn't film. Not sure if it's allowed or not, but it's pretty interesting. When you buy the tickets, it's only by card. You pay with your debit card, and then it gives you like a tapping card that you can refill. So that's pretty convenient. And then once you enter the station, you just tap in. You don't have to tap out. So I think I could be wrong, like 150 drams, one-way ticket. So that's like a couple of cents. So it's not pretty bad, but you know, that was my experience. And it was deep underground the station, but pretty clean, and the train was actually really fast. So it was actually like a really cool experience. But now let's explore this neighborhood to see what can we find out here. This neighborhood is giving me vibes like if I'm in Cliffside Park or some township in New Jersey. Like, looks like this, like if you're going up the hill and the design of the buildings and architecture, you know. So let's see what's happening out here. Like many of the structures of buildings have like a similar concept of architecture. So pretty nice. Over here you're gonna start seeing like some apartment complex out here. Then look at the sidewalks. I could literally bike here too. And I like the buildings, how they're designed. You know, it has like an older architecture, but pretty interesting. It'll be nicer when summer's here, when the leaves come out of the trees. But it's good to see another type of neighborhood outside the city center. Not too fast. It was probably like a 10-minute metro train ride from Republic Square. So, you know, you leave the city center within 10 minutes and you're in a different vibe of neighborhood. But so far it's looking pretty interesting. So this street that I'm walking is pretty residential. Like I say, it looks like Jersey, even looks like Brooklyn a lot. But once I make it towards the other side, it's gonna be Kas Avenue, I think it is. And maybe over there, they're gonna have a lot of business, a lot of restaurants, you know. So yeah, But even in the outer parts of the city, you see how they maintain it pretty nice and clean over here. So I don't know, I randomly was searching in the maps what other neighborhoods I could check out, and I found out about this one. Pretty accessible to the metro. There's another neighborhood at the other end of the last stop of the metro that I probably want to check it out. So going from one corner to another one. But yeah, people are out and about, you know, rush hour. Like I say, that metro commute was a pretty smooth process. Wow, look at this street art. A cat, jumping cat. This is nice in a regular neighborhood like this. Then it just keeps going, but I think it's pretty much like the same scenery, the same type of architecture, you know. Even in the basement level, they have multiple business. That's how you'll see it in a lot of districts in Yerevan. Over here, this architecture is actually a little bit more interesting, the one in my left. And then standing out here, I don't have no gloves, so I think the longer I stay outside, the colder I'm gonna get. But good thing the weather is not brutally cold like I'm used to in the winters back in the States, so this is actually a little bit more manageable. This building has an interesting architecture. I like it. And then it's like I'm doing some cardio over here, going up the hill, losing breath. I tell you, in Yerevan, you don't need a gym because the city's literally super walkable no matter what neighborhood you go, you know. Whether it's a city center or a neighborhood like this, everywhere's pretty accessible and walkable. Here's a corner. Maybe I'll do one more block and then make it towards the other main street. But everywhere you go here is pretty worth to look at, you know. Because architecture, this is like a new for me, you know, even though I've been in the city before, but looking at all this type of architecture is like a big deal for me, you know. I love how blue the sky is, even though it feels a little cold. Even the street signs, they look pretty interesting. Then in this street that I'm walking, I ain't gonna lie, man. It looks like some streets in the Bronx, New York. Like the architecture, like the structure, the buildings, you know, a little similar, just like with the cold weather too, you know, it has a little bit of that same vibe in the basement. It's like a mixture of Bronx and Brooklyn combined together, but with the Yerevan twist in it, you know, Armenia. So, tell you would never get bored of the city. Even in a regular neighborhood like this, there's action going on, there's people and everything, so really dope. And like I say, it's super safe city, pretty clean, organized. And you know, it doesn't seem like people will get upset with me recording or making content in the neighborhood. Because I think it's pretty rare, even though yes, bloggers do come out here, but it's pretty rare to see bloggers in this country. And I think this country deserves to be promoted more because it has a lot of natural beauty and a lot of rich history. Seems to be like a little supermarket, and they got street art here. Wow, this is nice. I love myself a nice street art. Then they got like the coffee. Hello. Then here, that street looks nice. I'm gonna see if I can cross the street and the other side and showcase it. Or maybe I'll go here. The street here looks pretty interesting with a small, look at architecture, the houses. Wow. This is nice. Like, it's good to see a little bit of the contrast. Wow, I'm really loving this architecture here. Like these houses, they look pretty nice and interesting. Then they got like little mini shops around too. They got more here in the corner. I think they have like I don't know if it's a mall or a strip mall called Rio Mall. So as I was crossing the pedestrian street, the cars, they really obey the rules here. Like if you're crossing pedestrian, they'll stop and let you pass, you know. Comparing to other countries in Southeast Asia that I've been, they keep on going even if you have the right to cross. So here in Armenia, you know, they're pretty smooth and driving, even though they drive fast, but they respect the pedestrians when they're crossing the street. Just look at these buildings over here on top. It's pretty interesting, right? If you're like a hip hop artist, maybe you might want to make a music video with these buildings over here. That'll be pretty interesting. But let's do one more block and then we're gonna merge left to make it to the main avenue to see what are the vibes over there. And then there should be like a little local park that I think is gonna be pretty interesting for me to explore and film. And it keeps going. I think a mall should be around here according to the map. But there's also like another memorial if I walk all the way towards my left at the end. So I'm not sure how the memorial is, but maybe there'll be a nice view of the city center. Only one way to find out is walking all the way there towards the end. And then here you got like a little street art, but it seems like it could do a little retouch to make it look nicer, you know. And here seems like they're developing something in front of these older buildings, so it's actually pretty cool. And I believe this is like a shopping center or a little mall. Has the signs on top, Rio. And then like a nice looking intersection right here with a blue sky. And these buildings look interesting, but I can't really capture much, but you can see the balcony how it looks like. And then you'll see a lot of cars like this, old cars, small. They're pretty common here in Armenia, you know. So yeah, it's very interesting to look at that, you know, like if you're transported a little bit back in time, but they do a good job to preserve it nice and neat, you know, the country and the city. Wow, this keeps going. It's actually a big mall. Or like a decent sized mall, let's put it that way. But I'm gonna walk all the way towards the end. I can't get enough of this beautiful blue sky. And see what can I find. Check out probably the memorial that they got going on. And this area over here seems to have more action. One of the little mini coffee kiosks, I see people, you know, grabbing from it. So I guess like in neighborhoods like this, people, you know, they rely on those little coffee kiosks versus the city center. I see them all over, but I don't see people like buying from it. Because I guess they have like tons and tons of coffee shops in the city center, so no need, but yeah. Over here, you know, it seems like it's pretty more interesting, the streets. You can see how nice it is in the neighborhoods. The buildings, apartment complex, pretty well preserved. And I like how they have the sidewalks pretty separated with a little bit of greenery and then the car. So it's a pretty well planned city. Look at this architecture. And here I think it's a busy Kas Avenue, but I'm gonna leave that for last. I wanna walk straight down towards where the memorial, and so I can get my steps in and my cardio. Like I say, it's actually like a pretty good workout that we got going on right here. And this is the busy Commuting, so lots of traffic, and I'm pretty sure lots of business, but I'm gonna walk towards this way first. So far I got 7,000 steps, but it's gonna be much more once I'm finished for today. Yo, Valentine's Day was a few days ago, and I still see them selling like for Valentine's. I guess it stands over here in Armenia, not sure. But good to know that they still have the decorations out here. And then you see how they keep this clean. Here we got a coffee house, which is like a chain all over the city in Yerevan. I tried some of the coffees and it's actually pretty good, so nice. And then here you can see, wow, here the neighborhood or the streets are transformed. Like the pedestrian side, here they got a supermarket in the first level. And then of course the trees, but no leaves. But like I say, maybe when the fall season or when summer's officially out, it's gonna be even nicer, you know, with the leaves and everything coming out to life. But I'm liking the street so far. It's beautiful. And even though the city in size is not so massive, I think it's some of the most walkable cities out here. Not only in Armenia, but like in the world. So everywhere is pretty convenient, pretty easy to walk around. And they got apartments and they got business and restaurants in the first level. Nice. And the food in Armenia is pretty good. I'm pretty sure in the nighttime it's nice out here. There's a business that has like a queue or line of people. So what they sell out there, is it pastries? And when you see a queue of people, you know it's good. Especially when you see the locals. Yeah, it seems like it's a bakery. Seems like they're selling bread. Wow. Nice. It smells pretty good too, like fresh. I didn't capture the moment, but when I was filming in the back, like I tell you, a car was coming speedy, but when he saw me crossing, he literally stopped. That's something you don't see in other countries, but they do that out here. Wow, is this a restaurant? I like it looks like a house. It's beautiful, I like it. So like I mentioned before, there's a park at the end that has a World War II memorial, and maybe they might have a viewpoint, so maybe I decided to check it out. When I was walking, I saw also the view of the mountains from a distance. So I don't know, I'm excited to see what that park has to offer. Here I am again doing a little cardio, but the park is right here ahead of me. So far it's looking nice. They have like a lot of, I think, like pine trees, so it's covered with leaves. So I'm gonna make it over there and see what's happening in this park. Now I made it to the park in the middle of like a section like this. Got the stairs that goes all the way there. So I'm gonna assume the memorial's all the way in at the end. I think I see views of the mountains too, so let's see what's going on right here. And over there, not sure you can see, but you can see the view of the mountain. It's looking pretty nice. Well, the name of this park is Nor Arabkir Park. So I think it's gonna be interesting. Like I said, the memorial's right ahead. I see people hanging out over there, so probably like a little hidden gem right here in this district in Yerevan. It's so far beautiful. You see we're surrounded by trees. Forgive me if I'm kind of breathing, because I did a cardio to go up here, the hills and then the stairs. But I think what we're gonna find ahead of me is gonna be super impressive. So I'm really excited to check it out. I still got a lot of walking to do, but hey, The weather for me is perfect, better than the hot extreme weather, so let's do it. And I guess this is the memorial. Wow, you can see breathtaking views of the city center. I think there's some people working out there, so I don't want to disturb them. I'm just gonna go the other way around. Oh, they even have a gym here. Let me show you guys. We are in for the treat because the views here is looking impressive. But let me show you like this outdoor gym that we got going on right here. Wow, so even out here you can do a little workout. See, I'm gonna believe that when the weather's nicer or in the afternoon when people get off of school, it's probably busy. But now I'm excited to check out the views. There's a huge, massive dog over there. He was barking earlier, so I think I'm just gonna go this way. Yep, that too. I don't know if you can hear him. But wow, I don't think my video or blog really does justice to what I'm witnessing over here. But I'll do my best to show you what I can see right here, which is gorgeous. Like, look at this, you see parts of the outskirts of Yerevan and the mountains in the back. I think if I go here, the view is actually even nicer. I even see a lake over there. But over here, wow, man. Seems like they're doing a lot of developments right here. This is crazy, yo. Literally like a hidden gem right here with the views of Yerevan. Very impressive with the mountains and nature combined with the cityscape and the urban center. And there are some wealthy houses over there that I can witness. Like I said, the camera really doesn't do justice with what I'm witnessing right here. There are some women there, I guess, doing exercise. And this is a dog that looks like a wolf, but it's not. Pretty massive than the view over here. Probably here's like a better angle, a better view. So let's capture it from right here. Look at this. The thing about this fence is this goes steep all the way down. So, yo, crazy but breathtaking. But yeah, pretty impressive views no matter what season you come. Summertime or winter is just awesome right here, as you can see. So that's a little bit of this park, and now I'm just gonna go hit the street level again and show you the main avenue that I want to see, and then probably another local park and wrap it up just for now. So by the way, I forgot to show you this tapping card. Not sure if you can see it clearly. Tail cell. So this is what I got when I was getting the metro ticket. So it's actually pretty tappable, the card. Well, I almost tripped there. So anybody who can correct me from here, who knows, I'm not sure if that's only used for mass transit or can it be used for other things as long as it has money in it. You know, I guess you just refuel it up with money and then tap it. But it was pretty easy, you know, to use the metro, and then it's only one line, so, you know, pretty easy. The only thing I just got to know which direction, because it's written, you know, in Armenia. But I asked one of the workers over there, like, hey, which way to go to the stop that I wanted to go, and she pointed me. So pretty helpful staff out there, you know, and I enjoyed the experience of riding the metro out here. Now let's head towards Kas Avenue to see what is happening over there. So I think it's gonna be pretty interesting, but I'm having a blast walking every single street in this beautiful neighborhood out here. So here I made it to the one and only Kas Avenue, and I think we're gonna be in for a treat. A nice street like the other ones, but over here the streets are actually more wider. I think there's a little bit of more action happening over here, more people. Mostly you see people waiting for the bus, probably to go to work or wherever they gotta go, because, you know, they got a pretty decent public transportation out here. But this is what it looks like. The neighborhood's kind of like a sidewalk, so you can share your scooter, your bike. Pretty easy. Then, you know, they got like business over here. So, they even got a coffee joint. I think the coffee scene, the coffee culture is actually big here in Armenia, because everywhere you go, there's a lot of coffee shops and people, they do take the coffee breaks. Not sure how many times a day they have coffee. Me, the most I'll do, mostly when it's cold weather, I'll do maybe 2 coffee. Most of the times I usually do 1, but sometimes, you know, if I'm tempted or I see like the options or choices of coffee, I'll go for a second round. You know, I'm a coffee person myself too, but yeah. And they got some of these buses. This is probably like the modern buses right here. It's like probably I guess like the newer version. They also got like an older version. And the older version of the bus, I don't know if I can see one. They usually have like 2 antennas that connect to this poles over there when they be driving. You know, I'm very curious what is the functioning with that, with those two antennas. You know, like I say, anybody from Armenia, feel free to explain what is it possible with the two antennas in the older buses, so I can know and my viewers can know more about this country and how does things like public transit works out here in the city. It's like a modern version of building. It's looking nice, pretty far. And then on the other side, you know, like I say, the buildings are not tall, but they're pretty interesting to look at. The number and temperatures are in the colder version, but it's not windy. So like I say, if it's not windy and sunny like this and you dress up, it's actually a pretty nice weather. Now, you can handle it better than 100-degree weather or 40 Celsius. So, you know, it makes it actually pretty comfortable. And here we got more, look at some of the business. Here we got the pine trees. Now the good thing, I'm walking down the hill, so it's not too bad for me. Also, another observation that I'm noticing Armenia or in general Yerevan is they don't have much fast food chains. Like the main ones are KFC, Kentucky, or Pizza Hut. But I guess it's a good thing because that way they got their own local food, and the food here, you know, it has a lot of healthy choices. Like they mix the proteins with the veggies and they got bread. So the food here, they take very serious care. This food here is like pretty serious business out here. So far the street is looking pretty charming with architecture and the sidewalks. And then ahead of me should be like a little local park called Mergalayan, I think. That's if I'm saying it correct. I'm literally reading it right here. So it's like kind of like a little park here combined with the buildings and architecture. So I'm gonna walk around and check it out to see how it is. And a pretty open space, the buildings, everything. Yeah, this is actually nice. And then like a beautiful intersection right here ahead of me. I was gonna go that way, but now I know there's an Armenian flag in one of the buildings. So I'm gonna cross the street and show you what's happening. I think it's gonna be like a pretty interesting shot. Then over here, the view is looking pretty nice right here. So this is the street over here. Like I say, you know, they got trees, they got the nice residential units, and then the Armenian flag is gonna be here in my corner of this building. Pretty huge too, the flag. So let me see if I can get a little shot of it. This is it right here. Then at the end is even an epic view. Some of the buildings with the Armenian flag and then the mountains, but like I say, the camera really doesn't do a big justice, but wow, it looks amazing. This is the local park right here. Like a little park, nothing crazy, but it's looking pretty nice over here with the beautiful architecture and the building. So, you know, recreational activity. A lot of people, they come out here and chill. That's something that you don't see really in the United States once you leave the New York City area. But over here, you know, a lot of people, they vibe out here together. And like I say, it's a city that's literally designed for the people as it should be. Also, another thing I like about Armenia is how I don't gotta stop by and buy a bottle of water. They have literally like drinkable water all over, you know. Some of the cleanest waters you're ever gonna find, because I think it comes straight from the mountains. So ahead of me, there's a fountain over there that I'm gonna go get some water. And then, you know, if you're a little thirsty, you just bend down like this. Yeah, it's actually pretty nice and pretty refreshing. So yeah. Little water break while you're exploring the whole district. And the park keeps going. It seems like they redid it all, retouched it. Oh, they even have restrooms here if you have to use the bathroom, so that's good to know. Wow, just like back home, I didn't want to point the camera at them, but there's some elder mans playing dominoes. Back in Puerto Rico, you'll see a lot of the older people playing dominoes, and they really take it serious. Like, you don't really want to mess with them. They know skills and stuff, and Jesus. But that's very good. That's very good to see. And it's literally in the park. Kind of reminds me of neighborhoods like in the Bronx, New York, or Brooklyn, where you see the older gentlemen playing dominoes, mostly Hispanic. So it's kind of giving me a vibe like that. And this street here would take me straight towards the metro system, but look at the street. So it's a nice street, but they have like a market over here where they sell fruits and vegetables. Wow, this is dope, like pedestrian. Oh wow, they got a meat market. City is literally full of surprises. And what I like is that it's pretty organized. Yeah, I'm not sure how clear my camera is capturing because of the sun, but yeah, pretty nice vibes. You can literally get everything with a walking distance from where you're staying. I think I've already seen enough for today in this neighborhood, you know, pretty charming area, a lot of cool things to see. So I'm gonna start wrapping up my video here for now, but I still got more videos to film around in Armenia. So that was the end of my video. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Stay tuned for more. Be safe out there, everybody. God bless y'all, and peace.